Antioxidants are an important part of our cellular function, physiological function, as well as an important nutritional supplement or support that we need to take in our diet. So let's talk about that today. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And we've been talking about the blood and delivering nutrients and having the blood flow, good circulation. And one of the ways that the blood circulates is to have a good level of antioxidants in the blood. In the absence of antioxidants, the blood gets sticky, doesn't flow very well. When you get good antioxidants, the blood flows really well. And so this is an important part of our supplement regime, and or to think about it from a standpoint of just overall wellness and to help to promote circulation. So let's look a little bit more about this. Let me define some terms so we have a little bit of understanding of what we're talking about. When we talk about an antioxidant, it's something that is basically a compound that will absorb a free radical. Okay, so a free radical is something, a compound, usually an oxygen or nitrogen, that has lost an electron and wants to take one from someone else. And so it's going to go around and steal electrons and create a chemical reaction, a chemical change, typically thought of as a chemical damage to other molecules around it. Okay, so it is hungry. It's basically this is a hungry nitrogen or a hungry oxygen molecule that's going around, and it's wanting to feast on something. And an antioxidant will go in and satisfy that and basically shut that down and absorb those free radicals. And so it prevents those from creating damage in the vital tissues and vital parts of the cell. In this particular case, we have been talking about the metabolism and metabolic function. So we're talking about the mitochondria inside the cell. And when the mitochondria, you've heard me mention on a couple videos ago, or at least last video, that when the mitochondria produce ATP, they produce a lot of oxidative stress. So one of the things that happens with antioxidants is that they're compartmentalized inside the cell. And we have to have them in the right place at the right time. So it is really a bad situation for the cell and then the tissue in the body to get depleted in antioxidants. So we really need to maintain good levels of antioxidants, and we need to make sure those antioxidants get delivered to where they need to go. And this is where fat-soluble antioxidants become super important and valuable to us as nutritionals, because that will allow the antioxidant power to be delivered wherever and whenever it needs to, right all the way go through the cell membranes and get into the system to be able to protect any area, any compartmented area inside the cell. And so what that, there's a problem with water-soluble antioxidants, because when you take a water-soluble antioxidant, even if it's a good water-soluble antioxidant you take in your diet, then it doesn't necessarily get all the way inside the cell, at least not very quickly, and you can still end up with damage inside the cell even though you've taken a high dose of antioxidants, okay, because it's just not making it there fast enough. So it is really important to already have the antioxidants in place. So we do not want to get depleted ever of antioxidants, because that it can really mess up the balance of things. And so what I'm going to just talk about today is two of the supplements that we've been one that we've been using. This is the NingXia Red. I've shown you before a bottle of the NingXia Red, but this is these 2-ounce carrying packs that comes as part of an option for when you buy NingXia Red. The cheapest per ounce of NingXia Red is by far the Essential Rewards NingXia Red pack. It's a 4-pack of 4 bottles of NingXia Red and 30 of these. So there's 60 ounces in these and another 100 ounces in the bottles. So 160 ounces, and I think you get that for just a little bit over $160 something, $170, something like that. And so this is really the best bargain for these for this, in NingXia Red. And I've talked to you about NingXia Red, but the amazing thing it is, it's got wolfberry puree and blueberries and pomegranate juice and things like that, and it's an amazing antioxidant support. But it's both, because they've added essential oils to this, it's both water soluble and fat soluble in one product, and you cannot find that in any. I have not found that in any other product on the market. Okay, so this is still truly a cutting-edge product, even though we've had it for maybe a dozen years or so. So this is the NingXia Red I'm talking about, and this is one of those, like I said, little travel packs or take-along packs. You can give these to your kids to take at school and that kind of thing. Now, the other supplement I want to talk about is something we haven't mentioned much at all, and that's the Vitality Clove Oil. And so as a Vitality Oil, we can look to take this internally, and clove is an amazing antioxidant. The problem is it doesn't taste all that good. So if you put it in your NingXia Red, it's going to overpower everything. So it's not easy to take this as a dietary supplement in your water or your drinks because it's so strong in terms of taste. It's not a danger in terms of toxicity, but it is definitely strong. So now clove oil it's got some fabulous properties, and if you want to look up individual constituents of clove oil, beta-caryophyllene is one of those that you would look up. And just look at the constituents of clove oil. Eugenol, you maybe hear of eugenol and isoeugenol and some other kinds of compounds that are in clove oil, and these are found. Clove oil has been used in dentistry, and particularly eugenol has been isolated and then synthesized and to be used in dentistry. So that smell, if you smell clove oil, of course I smell it as a whole clove. This is clove bud oil, but it has that faint smell of a dental office, and that's what we're familiar with is that eugenol, that's synthetic eugenol that's used. So, but the point of this is, in terms of what I'm going to share with you, is that this is really one of those that I would take in a capsule because of its strong taste. That it's going to be much easier to handle, and like I said, just dripping it in the mouth is going to be pretty strong. It actually has some numbing effect. In other words, if you put it in your mouth, it will numb for a little bit, which is why it's used in dentistry, has been for hundreds of years, or maybe even thousands. But anyway, so that's another reason why I wouldn't want to put it in my mouth and numb out my whole mouth. So anyway, I'm going to show you again how I fill a capsule, and I just rest the bottle over and then tip up so that I don't really worry about the exact number of drops going in. I'm just going to fill it up. In this case, I'm just sort of letting it dribble in. You can see that it's dripping out quite slowly. But I'm going to do about a half a capsule or so, and that ends up being 4 or 5 drops of clove oil. By no means a massive dose, and this is really quite an amazing supplement. Now, this is not going to last very long in this pill. I mean, it's going to dissolve through that bottle. So I'm going to go ahead and drink that with my super antioxidant drink, my NingXia Red. And this is just done. You rip off the little packet here. With that top ripped off, I like to just kind of push it open like that, so that I can pour it easier, and then I'm just going to take my pill. Very exciting having you watch me take a capsule. So there you have it. Now, the capsule of clove oil, it is possible to burp it, and if that burps and comes back up, it's going to kind of be like fire coming back up. I've done that with oregano as well. And any of those strong oils that, they come back up, if they do come back up on you, it'll burn all the way up and all the way down. It'll feel quite uncomfortable. And I literally will take a swig of olive oil to dilute that out, and I'll just swish it around in my mouth, swallow it, and that coats the esophagus all the way down and soothes all the way down, and it pulls that essential oil out of the esophagus tissue, which is what's burning, and then pushes it, takes it back down into the stomach. It does not negate the effect of the clove oil or the whatever oil I'm taking. It just takes it out of where I don't want it, which is I don't want it up in the esophagus. So if you take this with food, it's a little easier, so it traps the oil down in the stomach. So again, why would I be taking this? The antioxidant power of clove oil in particular is so good. As I mentioned, when the blood gets oxidized, it gets sticky and thick. And if you really want to keep your blood flowing clean, and we want to keep good levels of antioxidants in the body, and clove oil is a fabulous way to do that. Now, there is a caution that clove oil can actually thin the blood a little too much. So if you're on a blood thinner, or if you've been, you have a medical reason to be worried about having thin blood, then you would want to kind of watch carefully how much clove oil you take. If you're taking clove oil, like we're talking about on this program, and then you happen to notice that if you nick yourself shaving, or something happens, and you're kind of like it's not clotting very easily, then you would want to look at watching, get either watch out for how much clove oil you're taking. Just stop taking it, and it'll come out of your system fairly quickly in a matter of hours. So this is definitely something just to be aware of. It's a caution because clove oil has been found to keep the blood moving that well. And so that's one of the things that I like to use clove oil for, is the antioxidant power of clove is amazing. And then I combine that with the NingXia Red, but like I said, I don't like to put it in the NingXia Red because it's so strong that I just take it in the capsule first. And this combination is really amazing to keep that flowing. And so I take a few breaths, and I'm going to invite that clove oil to, as it breaks open in the stomach, and really pour into the body through the stomach. And now here's something that comes up, and a question that comes up, and it says, okay, well, what about if you're taking a clove oil, is that going to hurt the flora, right? Is that going to hurt the bacteria inside the gut? And here's the thing, that all your gut flora, and we'll talk more about this next month as we start, or actually 2 months from now in April, when we talk about the elimination system, because we're going to talk more about the bowel at that point. But the bacteria and things that are in the bowel are really well removed from the stomach. In other words, they're a long way away. And when an oil capsule breaks open in the stomach, and it absorbs immediately into the fat tissue of the body, and it absorbs, and so the liquid in the tube, inside the digestive tube, is mostly water. And so it's not going to, it's going to push the essential oil out into the tissue. The tissue is where the fat is, and that clove oil, or any oil we take internally, is just going to go immediately. It's never going to reach the lumen, the tube of the colon, all the way down there. It's never going to reach there in any significant quantity. So there's no concern about disrupting your the bacteria, the good bacteria, way down deep in your colon when you take an essential oil internally. Now, if you were to wash it the other way, and put it up in a colonic wash, a colonic, and put essential oils in there and wash it in, yes, you could have an impact on the bacteria that's in the colon, and that would be not so good. You'd want to replenish with make sure that you replenish with a probiotic, and we'll talk more about probiotics as well as we go along. So this is our focus today, is the antioxidants, and how we need a consistent supply of antioxidants, and we can have a lot of problems inside the cells, especially if we've been working with the blood and the energy system, and delivering nutrients, and getting the sugar to get the metabolism going, and increasing the energy production in the body. Every time we do that, we produce extra oxidative stress, and if free radicals and so we need to have that constant supply of antioxidants, which we would normally get from our fruits and vegetables, but our fruits and vegetables are so depleted these days that we don't eat them fresh out of the garden, and by the time we get them in the store, they've been there for a couple of weeks, or days, certainly days, and things they don't have quite the potency. So we have our clove oil, and we have our NingXia Red to help us, keep us on the wellness path when it comes to antioxidants. So very important part of our wellness program. Okay, so happy wellness. Join me next week as we finish up or get real close to finishing up the blood and lymph, the circulatory system, and I'm going to talk about what supplements next week we're going to need for the liver and digestion. Happy wellness.